Hi, I'm Mike Jingozian. Please watch this message, and if you like what you hear, then get involved because nothing is more important than who we elect to run our government. And I'm fighting to give you the right to vote for who you want, not just the two candidates from the two parties, and make sure they have an equal chance to get elected because right now, this definitely is not true. Our political situation is a shit show, and it's even getting worse as we continue to re-elect the very same people from the very same parties. If we want things to change, it's not going to come from the current players. Ben Franklin said change can only come from one direction, from outside. I mean, look, the iPhone didn't come from AT&T, Amazon didn't come from Sears, Airbnb not from Marriott, YouTube, Uber, Netflix, shit, even Pornhub didn't come from Playboy. The same is true for government. We can't expect the same people who built the system and who profit by it to want to fix it. We need to force them to do the right thing by only voting for candidates who support three specific changes to our election laws. And the best part, 80% of you already want these changes. So I'm not trying to convince you of anything that you don't already want. I'm just offering you a plan to get it. The re-election rate for Congress is 95%, but their approval rating is under 10. There's only one way you can get a 95% re-election rate with such a miserable approval rating. You prevent competition. And they get away with it because they're the ones who make the election laws. By the way, all the information in this video is on our website and in our book, Mistaken Beliefs. This also includes all the sources of data that I mentioned. The book is about things we think are true, but are not, and why everything you think you know about government is wrong. Why the two parties are really the same, why the media isn't asking the right questions, the root causes of our decision-making, from herd behavior to unconscious influences and neurobiases, and how social media exploits these factors to manipulate us. How our government lies to us with fake data. This is interesting because the numbers for the debt, GDP, and unemployment are not at all what you think they are. And my dreadful experience running as a third-party candidate. Over half of the book is on our website for free. There are no forms to fill out. You just click and the first few chapters open right up. You know, they're always talking about how competition is great for everyone. And they pass laws that make it a crime to prevent it. Then why isn't competition good for the two parties as well? All right, so what are these three changes I keep talking about? First, term limits, to get rid of career politicians and start electing people who want to put our interests before theirs. But just kicking them out isn't good enough. We need ranked voting so we can vote for who we want and not risk electing someone we hate even more. This is what we call the spoiler effect, and it always leads to the lesser of two evils. Sound familiar? And equal campaign laws to give outsiders the same chances to get elected because the rules are vastly different for outsiders. If a candidate meets all the requirements to run for office, then they should be given the same opportunities as the two parties. Now, these changes aren't going to solve all our problems overnight, but they're a necessary first step for any meaningful change to happen. And like I said, we already want these changes. 80% of you want term limits, 80% like ranked voting, and 68% want third parties. And these numbers are just based only on what the public knows. Once you learn what's really going on, you'll be even more outraged. Oh, and yeah, 93% of us dislike government. Okay, so please tell me, how can so many people feel so strongly about these issues, yet we call ourselves polarized? Maybe it's because our leaders want us polarized, so we point fingers at each other instead of where they should be pointed. Don't think of this as red versus blue. Think of this as us versus them. This plan is realistic, easy, and doesn't cost a thing. It doesn't need help from Congress and can be achieved in just 2 to 3 elections. We must stop trying to hold our leaders accountable and take matters into our own hands. Literally, we just need to check a different box. It doesn't get easier than this. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm already fighting for this or for that. I can't add another issue to my list of things to freak out about. But it doesn't matter what you want changed. We're not going to have peace when the defense industry gives billions to the parties. We're not going to get people healthy when pharma has 2 lobbyists for each member of Congress. or get people to shop local when government is owned by corporations, or get rid of waste and corruption when the whole system runs on waste and corruption, or overhaul the FEC, or get rid of insider trading when Congress gets to make their own laws, or deal with global warming when the chair of the House Energy Committee owns a freaking coal company. Whatever happened to conflicts of interest or balance of power? People, haven't we had enough already? These are all good causes, but nothing's going to change because they already have what they want. A 95% re-election rate. So there's no reason for them to do anything different. Why rock the boat? Here's why we need to do this. There's never just two solutions to a problem. There are practical solutions to all our problems that cost nothing, by the way. But these aren't even considered because they don't raise money. I mean, think about it. War, cancer, pollution, the police state, debt, fear, panic. These are great for re-elections. But peace, health, living within our means, shopping locally, these are terrible for fundraising. Every decision in Washington is based on how much money and power it gets them. Nothing is done for the good of the people. I mean, just think of how they try to deceive you. The Credit Reform Act gave more power to the credit companies. The Clean Air Act allows companies to pump more shit in the air. The Voters' Rights Act limits who can vote. No Child Left Behind caused more kids to be left behind. Campaign Reform Act and Citizens United. Now there's no limit in how much you can pay off a candidate, and it's all hidden from the public. The Patriot Act. Well, it's got the word patriot in it, so it's got to be good, right? If you agree with this message, then please help. Your financial support is really important because unlike politicians who use your money to run a perpetual campaign, this all comes out of my pocket. Plus, we have some really cool projects that are ready to roll out. These include a media response network, which kicks into gear when polls are published that don't include the names of independent candidates, and a documentary based on our 2007 video that won 4 awards for Best Short Political Video, candidate recruitment, training, and a lot more. Incumbents, on the other hand, have huge advantages over outsiders like me. Here are pages of re-election advantages from our book. They get billions from their parties. They get paid to campaign. They have entire teams whose jobs depend on getting them reelected, including speechwriters, bloggers, volunteer coordinators, media producers, fundraisers. They get free advertising, speaking gigs, interviews. They get invited to graduations and conventions and parades, all paid for by you. Third-party candidates, on the other hand, are saddled with huge obstacles. They need to collect an absurd number of signatures, and are excluded from polls and surveys, excluded from the debates, policy briefings, and so on and so on. Of course, the biggest challenge is overcoming the mistaken belief that voting for a third party is a wasted vote. This is our greatest mistaken belief. The truth is, voting for a Democrat or Republican is wasted. In fact, it's worse than wasted. It's dangerous because it supports a corrupt system that prevents the changes we need. Or they call us crazy for running as a third-party candidate. So let me get this straight. You're crazy if you're not for sale and you're fighting to change the system for the benefit of everyone. But a candidate is legitimate if they sell out to special interests, vote exactly how their party tells them to vote, and screw the American people. And you're not a crazy voter if you vote to re-elect the same people over and over, expecting them to suddenly start doing the right thing. The bottom line, this is not a level playing field. The two parties spend between $20 to $200 a vote. It's hard to tell with all the dark money. To start this movement, I'm only asking for $5 from each of you. You can make a one-time donation at GoFundMe or make a monthly contribution on Patreon, starting at just $2 a month. We need to tell the American people the truth about what's really going on in Washington and why every law passed by Congress is aimed at increasing their chances for re-election. In the process, you'll be building a community of independent thinkers, people who want to do what's best for them and not simply obeying our current leaders who are only representing their own interests and the interests of their benefactors. Again, all this information is published online, but please, buy a full copy of our book. It'll help us get this movement off the ground. Plus, you'll get this oversized Reset America bandana, till we run out of them. And join us. We need social media experts and podcasters, bloggers, YouTubers, folks with experience in fundraising. Basically all the jobs the two parties take for granted. including running the whole organization Reset America. I mean, I'm not going to live forever, and it would be a shame if this whole movement died with me. I hope to record more videos, but right now I need to focus on fundraising. So the quicker we can do that, the faster we can roll out these programs. Obviously, like, subscribe, that helps us a real lot, and forward this video to everyone you know. Do it now. Nothing is more important than who we elect to run our government. Remember, there will be a revolution, but if we do this, it won't be a violent one. Thanks for listening. Please comment. I hope to hear back from you soon.